He was just the janitor. Until a 4-star general walked in and saluted him. What happened next made the entire school go silent. No one noticed him, no one ever asked his name. But that morning, something was different. Ion stood in the empty school gym looking at a dusty old trophy case, his hand shaking slightly. A shadow moved behind him, footsteps, but he didn't turn around. He just whispered. They forgot everything, but not him. And then, the school bell rang in. The world went back to ignoring him. Main story begins. Steady emotional rhythm. Ion was the janitor. Every morning he arrived before anyone else. He cleaned the classrooms, mopped the gym floor, replaced broken lights, and yet, no one saw him. Students passed by laughing, shouting, posting selfies, never saying hello. Jordan, the school's basketball star, once threw a ball that hit Ion's mop bucket, then laughed and walked away without even looking back. Teachers weren't much better. Some nodded politely, most didn't even glance. To them, Ion was just a cleaning guy, invisible, quiet, always wearing long sleeves even during the hottest summer days. No one knew where he went after school. No one asked. He didn't eat in the cafeteria. He never joined staff meetings. He just vanished at the final bell one day. A group of kids peeked into the storage closet and saw a photo taped to the wall. A young man in military uniform, smiling proudly. Below it, faded words, in memory of Captain Ion Malik. But before they could ask, Ion was already gone. Just like always, no one knew what that photo meant, or why Ion looked at the flag outside the school every morning like it held a secret. But all of that changed when a 4-star general walked into the school assembly and stopped mid-step. He turned, saluted the janitor. The room froze. The gym was packed. Students filled the bleachers, half listening to the speeches, half scrolling through their phones. Teachers stood along the walls, chatting quietly. Flags were hung up high, red, white, and blue, waving above the crowd. It was Veterans Day, but to most of them, it was just another school assembly. Then came the moment that would change everything. The door swung open with a heavy creak. Boots echoed loudly across the polished wooden floor. General Harper, tall, broad-shouldered, covered in shining medals, walked into the gym. His presence commanded respect. Instantly, the crowd straightened up. The principal stepped aside to introduce him, but Harper didn't stop at the podium. He walked past the microphone, past the rows of veterans seated in the front. His eyes were searching, and then they stopped, locked onto someone standing quietly near the back wall, holding a mop and broom. Ayan. The janitor, the man no one noticed, the man who never spoke. General Harper's face froze, and then slowly, he began walking step by step directly toward him. People turned their heads in confusion. The entire gym began to murmur what was happening. When Harper reached Ion, he stood tall, straighter than before. Then he did something no one expected. He saluted, a sharp, precise military salute. Silence fell like a blanket over the gym. Even the air felt heavier. And then, the general's voice rang out, deep, proud, emotional. Sergeant Major Ion Khan, you saved my entire unit in Kandahar. I owe you my life. It was like time had stopped. A basketball rolled slowly across the gym floor. Jordan, who once laughed and threw things at Ion, stared with his mouth open. One teacher dropped her clipboard. Another covered her mouth with her hands. The students, speechless, because in that moment, they realized the man they ignored, the man they looked past every day, was a war hero, and not just any hero. A hero who had carried men to safety under fire. A hero who had once led others through the worst of war and never once mentioned it. Now, they finally saw him, not as a janitor, but as something far greater. Gasps echoed through the gym like thunder. It was as if the whole room had been struck by lightning, but not the dangerous kind. The kind that wakes you up, makes you see what you've been blind to for far too long. Jordan, the loudest boy in school, the one always laughing and mocking, stood frozen. His basketball dropped from his hands and rolled to Ion's feet. He looked down, ashamed, small, and silent. Principal Rivera's lips trembled. She removed her glasses and wiped her eyes. Even the assistant principal, always strict and distant, looked down in guilt. And then something unexpected happened. A single student stood up, then another and another. One by one, the entire student body began to rise, slowly, respectfully. Then came the clapping, not loud, not rushed. It started like soft rain, steady and sincere. Hands clapped, not just in admiration, but in apology. Veterans in the front row placed their hands over their hearts. Some closed their eyes. Others whispered prayers. They knew what that salute meant. They had seen men like Ion before, men who carried burdens too heavy to talk about. Men who gave everything, then came home to silence. And yet, Ion never told anyone, never once demanded respect. He cleaned floors, emptied trash, and fixed squeaky doors, while carrying memories heavier than any mop. That then someone noticed it, taped to the side of his janitor's cart, nearly hidden behind a folded towel, a small photo, worn edges, faded faces. 4 young men in uniform, arms around each other, smiling in the dust of war, underneath a single word written in black. Marker, always, no medals, no speeches, no need for recognition, just a promise. one Ion had kept quietly every single day. And in that moment, everyone in the gym realized something. They hadn't just overlooked a janitor. They had ignored a hero, a protector, a man of honor. The man they never saw was the one who had always been watching over them. Silently, bravely, always. Some heroes wear medals, others carry mops and memories. If this story touched your heart, like the video, share it and subscribe for more untold truths.